world in 2030 would be very, very different from what we know as of today. It's 2026, right? 2026, August 6th, the day I made this video, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, man. With everything ramping up in terms of technology, the politics, it kind of makes me wonder, like, where are we actually gonna be in 2030? I'll be 29 that year. I think a lot about like my future, and this video I'm gonna be very unfiltered, by the way. I think we're gonna head to a point in time where a lot of people won't own anything and it will be normalized, like right now, right? A lot of movies and a lot of like streaming is all subscription based, right? The moment you don't pay it, you can't watch any movie, you don't own anything. You get me? It's not like DVDs back then. We could just pop a DVD in, it's yours, you can trade it, you can give it, you can sell it, it's yours, right? Even with like the video game industry, you seen PlayStation, for example, they came out, hey, we're not gonna make any physical discs, right? And in doing that, and this is just a start, right? Because I'm gonna break this down. So this is the start of everything becoming digital, surveillanced, and watched, right? Because that's the life they want us in. They want us to be like cattle, but watched cattle. We're already statistics to them, but they want to control us on a level we've never seen before. And yeah, first they get rid of you owning anything, anything that's to your name that you feel like has value. Maybe it's passed down family traditions or whatever. It's yours, inheritance, etc. They don't want anybody to own shit, right? And this is the problem. When you don't own anything, you don't dictate anything. You can't negotiate anything. You can't barter anything. You can't have leverage over anything, right? You don't have collateral over anything, right? You literally just exist. You're there, right? So that means if anything you want to buy digitally is available, they can change the price. They can change when it's on sale, when it's not on sale, anytime, right? Another thing with that is like, if everything is online and digital, that means all your transactions that you're making in life, whether if you're buying it from a friend or a store, everything is recorded online. Even like cash, they want to get rid of cash to get rid of people feeling like that privacy. Because if you go anywhere with cash, I mean, it's not tracked, it's not traced. It's cash. Like, once that's non-existent, bro, all your transactions will be online, registered to a network, and it can be looked up anytime. So if you're buying them OnlyFans subscriptions, it will be on that server. So, I think another thing too, like, they all wanted to like eat, and it's a lot of like racist shit that popped up in these past years. And of course, I think a lot of it has to do with like the dude in office. I don't even want to say his name, but I think it's him. A lot of people that feel a certain prejudice towards other races. I always say I think racism is a mental illness. For you to feel away about something because of a color, like, think of, it's a mental illness because it's like a color is a color. You get me? What makes a person is certain traits and nature of that person. And the biological engineering fact of being a human being is that we all have different traits based on where we're from. And I think, they're trying to create like this race war shit going on. If you go on TikTok or Twitter and all these other social media platforms, there's a lot of like division, and I think that's one of the tactics that they want to use. Divide and conquer. Especially when a lot of people understand that we're stronger together, we're stronger unity. Unfortunately, there's some people that have so much hatred and so much negative, low vibrational energy inside of them that they'll be possessed by that sense of perspective, right? They go through life waking up and look for another human being to feel a way about, to call them insults. Nigga, you're lame. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I genuinely feel about it, dude. Like, I think if we don't break out of that, and I don't really feel like we'll ever do, because there's just so much history behind that, and it's unfortunate that there's also economical sense to it as well. When people don't have money, they can't unite. They don't want to unite. They need to pay their bills, they need to feed their kids. So a lot of people are running wild. And they understand this really well. Like, these architects of this system, this game that we're playing, right? This 9 to 5, and then you got just all these man-made constructs that we're in now, job and fucking insurance, like, just everything that we're in right now is fake, okay? And I think by that time as well, either people will finally want to break out of that, and like now something catastrophic will happen to the point where like we're scared or we're fearful or something. Like it gets deep, bro. I genuinely feel like in desperation, I'm gonna tell you something, right? At times, if you go back in history, when the government was, broke or something, recession or something crazy happened, and they were desperate, the government don't give a shit about its people. If you see during the pandemic, like, was it really handled well? Even then, like, there's a lot of articles saying like a lot of that shit was fake. Like, it's they don't give a shit about us. We're all we have, and I think the more we tend to not understand unity, it's gonna get worse. Another thing I think in 2030 is gonna happen is that food isn't gonna be so like easily accessible. As far as like fresh food, I don't think food is gonna, like, how we could DoorDash a good meal that's like not fast food. Maybe it's actually fresh. You have all the ingredients right then and there. I think it's gonna be a shortage somehow or somewhat. Logistics or supply chain, whatever it is, in 2030. I think it's gonna have something to do with our food. A lot of the food we eat now is fucking fake. It's like lab created. Like, I don't know, man. Fruit and vegetables taste very different. It's not like we're eating fruit off a tree in nature. We're dependent on the system, and I think they understand it very well. We've been dependent on them for so long that what can we do? We don't have our own farmlands. We don't have our own crops. We don't have our own ways of bartering, etc. So I just think it's gonna get very utopian. Dystopia. There you go. My bad. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see, because even now, like, a lot of people do so much for TikTok and streaming that, like, they got us by where they, by the balls. They got us where they want us, and I don't know, man. I have hope, of course, but there's also like a realistic aspect in my head that I genuinely feels like when people are desperate, or when people don't have like a sense of morality, or they don't have a sense of direction, I think that's when people get the most desperate. And I think that's when essentially, like, chaos starts. Like, everything kind of collapses to a certain point. Social economics, socially morals, collective consciousness, all of that disappears. So I don't know, man. I think it's very interesting to see in real time. This year is almost over. We're about to be in 2027, so that'd be 3 years. And like, be real, do you really see things like getting better or worse? And the last thing I want to say that's really gonna set everything up for that time. Ironically, I'm not a political person, but I definitely would say 2028 election. Whatever happens right then and there, that is gonna determine like what goes on. Like I said, when cowards get desperate, regardless if they're in a position of power or in the committee staff or a senator chair, whatever, right? When cowards are desperate, they go to extreme measures and try to ruin it for everybody else. That's all I'm gonna say. So just keep that in mind. You have to protect the energy, and you have to also make sure that no matter what, regardless if it doesn't work out or if it does work out in your lifetime, you have to create a contingency plan. Make sure that you want your life set up a certain way, before you can say it's determined for you. But it's your boy Omasaro, also known as Asia Collins, man. The world in the future is very interesting. I look forward to it, ironically, the good and bad, because it's a blessing to be here. It's a gift to be in the present moment, and I think the more you understand that, the more you can go through life with a sense of calmness, a sense of stillness and relaxation, believe it or not. But I love y'all, and I'm out.